Chapter 1800. Bam. Bam. Then 7 Emperor-level powerhouses stepped out and rushed into the mountain. Buzz. The pill furnace mountain continued to vibrate, and rays of light burst out from it. Those Emperor-level powerhouses also made their move. A terrifying rumble erupted in the area, shaking the heavens and the earth. Retreat, retreat. Those below the Emperor level retreated. The Emperor level powerhouses were too terrifying. If they were even slightly affected, they would definitely be reduced to ashes. The world shook, and the pill furnace mountain emitted a bright light. It was enveloped by rings of light. That was the light of pill chi, but it could erupt with shocking power. It was incomparably mysterious. Moreover, the shaking became more and more intense. The pill furnace mountain actually became somewhat illusory, as if it would break through the sky at any time. Whoosh, whoosh. Their figures flashed, and those Emperor-level powerhouses all retreated outside the mountain. We can't force our way in. Otherwise, the pill furnace mountain will break through the sky and escape again. Someone frowned. Then what should we do? Someone asked. It seems that the Great Pill Development Palace doesn't welcome Emperor-level powerhouses. It seems that we can only send those below the Emperor level in to try. An Emperor-level powerhouse said. The others fell silent for a moment, then nodded. Emperor-level powerhouses couldn't enter at all. Even if they all attacked, the pill furnace mountain would probably disappear into the void again. At that time, they wouldn't be able to obtain anything. They could only send those below the Emperor level to try. Then, these Emperor-level powerhouses began to send those below the Emperor level. At first, they sent boundary Emperors, but without exception, they were all blasted out. Correspondingly, the strength of the halos was much weaker. They only blasted boundary Emperors out. At most, they would be injured. The power was far from being able to deal with Emperor-level powerhouses. Otherwise, they would be able to kill a bunch of boundary Emperors in an instant. After that, they sent absolute saints, but it was still useless. The Emperor-level powerhouses were very patient. They slowly experimented, and finally, the results were out. Only the younger generation below the age of 50 could enter. The halo was the weakest. Some prodigies could withstand it and enter smoothly. Immediately, the major forces began to send the younger generation here. Soon, all the prodigies gathered here. Not only that, but there were also many prodigies from the ancient Moon Sacred Ground and the ancient Moon Sacred Ground. There were also many prodigies from the ordinary Emperor-level forces. Lu Ming was also mixed in with some young people, so he didn't attract any attention. You guys go in. When the time comes, find a chance to wipe out the geniuses of the Divine Elephant Sect and Phoenix Palace, especially Huang Ling and Long Chun. Beside the Wan clan's sovereign realm expert stood a few geniuses of the Wan clan. At this moment, the Wan clan's sovereign realm expert transmitted his voice to them. His voice was extremely cold. Yes, Martial Emperor. The geniuses of the Wan clan nodded. Don't worry. I've already contacted the Heavenly Wolf Pagoda, Skybird Palace, and Violet Extreme Sect. Anyone who dares to join forces with Lu Ming and kill my Wan clan's geniuses will definitely die. The Emperor-level expert from the Wan clan said coldly. The eyes of the geniuses of the Wan clan flashed with cold light. Go. The Wan clan's Emperor-level expert waved his hand. Whoosh. Whoosh. The geniuses of the Wan clan all flew towards the Cauldron Mountain. At the same time, the other faction's geniuses also rushed towards the mountain. Lu Ming mixed in with the ordinary Emperor-class faction's geniuses, and also rushed towards the mountain. Many young geniuses rushed into the mountain. The mountain of pill furnaces also emitted layers of light. However, these layers of light were relatively weaker. Lu Ming only felt a slight numbness in his body as he resisted the power of these layers of light. He seemed to be very relaxed. However, not everyone was as relaxed as him. Some of the weaker geniuses' expressions changed drastically. Their bodies shook violently as they quickly retreated out of the range of the mountain. Some people were eliminated before they could even enter. Their expressions were ugly, but there were still many people who resisted the pressure and headed towards the depths of the mountain. Not long after, they entered the depths of the mountain and disappeared into the clouds, disappearing from the sight of outsiders. Who will be able to obtain the inheritance of the Great Pill Development Hall? Everyone pondered, revealing a look of anticipation as they waited quietly. The Cauldron Mountain occupied a vast area. After Lu Ming and the others entered, they were surrounded by white fog and their vision was not very good. The Cauldron Mountain was still very far away from them. Everyone leaped into the air and disappeared into the boundless clouds and mist. Lu Ming also moved and rushed towards the Cauldron Mountain. However, after running for half an hour, they were still very far away from the Cauldron Mountain. They could only look at it but not reach it. The people who had entered had already scattered. As far as the eye could see, there was not a single person in sight. It didn't look very far from the outside. I didn't expect it to be so far after entering. Lu Ming muttered to himself as he continued forward. Not long after, Lu Ming suddenly stopped. He saw a few figures flashing in front of him. Those were the figures of the Wan clan. These people of the Wan clan are sneaking around. What are they trying to do? Let's follow them and take a look. Lu Ming's gaze shifted. He withdrew his aura and quietly followed. The few geniuses of the Wan clan went in one direction. Not long after, they set up an ambush at the edge of a valley. Not long after, other people appeared and set up an ambush nearby. It's the people of the Skywolf Pagoda and the Ziji sect. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. Behind them he saw the people of the Sky Bird Palace. These four forces were the ones who had joined forces to establish the Myriad Spirit Exchange. They were on good terms. What were these people trying to do? Soon Lu Ming found out. In front of him, 5 to 6 figures were running over. Huangling Longchun. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. Among those figures, Huangling and Longchun were among them. As for the others, they were obviously the geniuses of the Phoenix Palace and the Divine Elephant sect. The Wan clan and the others had set up an ambush here to deal with Huangling and the others. They're courting death. A cold light flashed in Lu Ming's eyes and he suddenly shouted, "Kill!" His voice spread far and wide, causing Huangling and Longchen's expressions to change. They couldn't help but stop. "We haven't entered the encirclement yet." Which idiot shouted? The geniuses of the Wan clan had gloomy expressions. Someone cursed. The people of the four forces were lying in ambush in different places. They thought that it was the other forces who had called. The people of the other forces were the same. They thought that it was the other forces who had called. Who's there? Long Chen's eyes were like lightning as he scanned the surroundings. Whoosh, whoosh. There was a piercing sound as the geniuses of the Wan clan flew out and appeared in front of Huangling and the others. Since the ambush didn't work, they could only attack directly. It's the Wan clan. Huangling's face darkened. And us. Voices were heard as the geniuses of the other three forces appeared. In a flash, they surrounded Huangling and the others in the middle. Wan clan, Skywolf Pagoda, Skybird Palace, Ziji sect. What are you trying to do? Chapter 1801. What are you trying to do? Huangling Longchun. You helped Lu Ming kill our 4 family sky prides and wreaked havoc at the Thousand Spirit Exchange. Do you think we'll let you off just like that? You'll pay with your lives. One of the Wan family's sky prides sneered. His killing intent was icy cold. So it's because of this. Many of your family's sky prides have died. Don't let them all die. Longchun said coldly. The aura on his body became violent. His body swelled and his arms became thicker, containing endless power. You're the ones who will die. Let's attack together. The Wan family's sky prides shouted coldly. However, at that moment, the sound of something breaking through the air came from afar. 4 to 5 figures flew over rapidly, causing the sky prides of the Wan family and Skywolf Pagoda to change their expressions slightly. In the next moment, there was a flash of light and 5 figures stood in the sky. Hee, it's really lively. Brother Wan, why don't we join in? One of the golden-robed young men said, his voice filled with killing intent. So it's the brothers from the Golden Crow clan. Great, ha. Let's attack together. The sky prides of the 4 forces were overjoyed. Huangling, Longchun, and the others looked even more upset. Everyone from the Golden Crow clan, we have no grudges against each other. Why are you adding insult to injury? Huangling said. Facing the 4 forces, they were already doomed. With the addition of the Sky Prides of the Golden Crow clan, they were in even more danger. No grudges? What a joke. You're with Lu Ming. Even if you have grudges against us, you have to kill those who are with Lu Ming. A golden-robed young man said coldly. He was the 9th prince of the Golden Crow clan. Back in the phoenix nest, he was almost stripped of all his feathers by Lu Ming. He hated Lu Ming to the core. Let's attack together and kill them. Let's find the inheritance of the Great Pill Development Hall. The leader of the Wan family's Sky Pride shouted. Light spots lit up on his body and sacred weapons flew out. This person's cultivation was extremely terrifying. He was a lesser great sage, and was not any weaker than Wan Pingyang. He was also one of the strongest Sky Prides of the Wan family. In addition, there were Sky Wolf Pagoda, Ziji Sect and Sky Bird Palace. In total there were 5 Sky Prides of the Great Sage. And this power was extremely terrifying. It was enough to kill Huangling and Longchen. Moreover, he had the help of the Golden Crows. Among the 5 Golden Crows, there were 2 Supreme Saint Prodigies. They were the Golden Crow 5th Prince and the Golden Crow 4th Prince. All of them were consummate chosen, and each and every one of them was strong enough to fight opponents above their level of cultivation. In fact, ordinary great sages were no match for them. Charge out! Huangling and Longchen's faces were extremely ugly. They gathered together and rushed madly in the same direction. You can't escape. Kill. The 4 great forces and the Golden Crow tribe's experts attacked together. Terrifying attacks rained down on the Golden Crow tribe. Longchen roared furiously and unleashed his full power. Both of his fists punched out continuously. In an instant he had punched out dozens of times, destroying the attacks one after another. As for Huangling, she used the inextinguishable flame law. The cry of a phoenix resounded through the world, protecting the others. However, even with so many experts working together, Longchen and Huangling still trembled. Their faces turned pale, and blood flowed out from the corners of their mouths. The law of undying flame, the law of extreme force, and 2 king bodies should be killed. One of the Wan clan's chosen sneered, looking jealous. Longchen and Huangling had comprehended the law of king bodies, which were called king bodies. The more they cultivated, the stronger their combat power would be in the future. In the future, they would surpass the rest of the Wan clan's chosen. This was also the reason why the emperor-level experts of the 4 great forces had ordered them to kill Longchen and Huangling king bodies, when developed, would be extremely terrifying. By then, the strength of Phoenix Palace and Divine Elephant Sect would be even more shocking, surpassing the other forces. Therefore such geniuses had to be killed in the cradle. Anyway, even if they died in the Great Evolution Elixir Palace, no one would know how they died, and no one would blame them. Kill! Kill the king bodies! Voices filled with murderous intent were heard. More terrifying attacks were launched toward Huangling and the others. At this moment, Huangling and the others' bodies rippled like water. They moved 100 meters away and dodged the attacks. Kill! In the sky, a loud shout was heard, causing some of the weaker cultivators to scream. Then, a huge finger descended from the sky. It was as if a deity had attacked, pointing toward the Wan clan's chosen. This is the law of chaos. It's Lu Ming. The leader of the Wan clan's chosen let out a cry of despair. He unleashed all of his strength and rushed toward the huge finger with his sacred weapons, hoping to block it. But now that Lu Ming had broken through to the Supreme Saint level, his combat power had skyrocketed. How could he block the chaotic finger of calamity? The chaotic finger of calamity crushed through. The Wan clan's chosen who were below the Supreme Saint level did not even have time to scream. Their bodies exploded, and their souls were destroyed. The Supreme Saint's chosen did not resist for long. He let out an unwilling roar, and his body exploded as well. Another great sage prodigy from the Wan clan had fallen. Whoosh! In the sky, a young man in a black robe stepped down. His black hair fluttered and his face was cold. Around him, more than 100 sacred weapons danced. It was Lu Ming. Lu Ming. Huangling, Longchen, and the others were overjoyed. As for the other forces chosen, their expressions changed drastically. Lu Ming, how dare you appear again and kill the Wan clan's chosen? This time you can't escape. No one can save you. A chosen from the Sirius pagoda roared. Who will know if I kill all of you? Lu Ming said coldly. Kill all of us? Ridiculous. Although your combat power is strong, with so many of us joining forces, it's enough to kill you. A young man in a purple robe stepped out from the Ziji sect. His purple hair fluttered in the wind, and his aura was wild. This person's cultivation was at the Great Sage Greater Mastery. He had a mid-level heaven spiritual body, and his combat power was shocking. That's right. If we join forces, we can kill him. A person from the Golden Crow clan also stepped out. Together with the Ziji sect's chosen, they formed a triangle. Their violent auras pressed toward Lu Ming. He was the Golden Crow 4th prince, who was stronger than the Golden Crow 5th prince. He also had a Great Sage Greater Mastery cultivation. You guys, send a few people to block Huang Ling and Long Qin. The rest of you, kill Lu Ming with me. The Ziji sect's chosen instructed. Suddenly, 2 figures flashed, and 2 Supreme Saint chosen rushed toward Long Qin and Huang Ling, blocking in front of them. Their mission was to stall Huang Ling and Long Qin, while the rest of them killed Lu Ming. As long as they killed Lu Ming, they could kill Huang Ling and the others. Purple light burst out, forming an extreme purple battle sword, and charged toward Lu Ming. The Golden Crow let out a long cry, and the fire of the Grand Sun burned fiercely. The Golden Crow spread its wings, and the terrifying Grand Sun True Fire surged toward Lu Ming. At the same time, the other Supreme Saint chosen also launched a terrifying attack toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming, be careful, Huang Ling warned. Lu Ming's expression was calm. He held a holy weapon in his hand and stepped out. Dong. Suddenly, endless runes appeared in the sky, forming a terrifying sealing power that covered the Golden Crow 4th prince and the others. Oh no, it's the law of Array Dao, the sealing power. Why does he have 2 types of law? Chapter 1802. Not only did Lu Ming possess 2 types of laws, but they were also extremely terrifying. The law of chaos was one of the 10 strongest laws in the world, while the law of array was also one of the sovereign laws, second only to the 10 strongest laws. In the martial sage realm, one could only cultivate one type of law and control one type of law. Only when one reached the martial emperor realm, one could cultivate multiple types of laws. This was an ironclad rule. How could Lu Ming control 2 types of laws in the martial sage realm? Kill. Lu Ming stepped forward and slashed out with his sword. The terrifying sword radiance caused the void to tremble. The sword radiance slashed out and the attack of the Ziji sect's genius collapsed instantly. The sword radiance did not stop and slashed down. The Ziji sect's genius in the Great Sage realm did not even have time to scream before he was split in half by Lu Ming's sword. So what if he was a genius in the Great Sage realm? Lu Ming, who had reached the Great Sage realm, still slashed him in half with his sword. Retreat quickly. This person is demonic. We can't fight him head-on. Someone roared and retreated frantically. The genius in the Great Sage realm was slashed by Lu Ming in half with his sword. This kind of combat strength was too shocking and made them shiver all over. The Golden Crow 4th prince, who had previously relied on his cultivation to act high and mighty, retreated faster than anyone else. However, as soon as they retreated, it was as if they had hit a wall. The space in the void seemed to have solidified. On the other side, Bubble pouted and looked harmless. Kill. Lu Ming stepped on the air and slashed out with his sword. The chi of the war weapon soared into the sky. Poof. Blood splattered, and another genius in the Great Sage realm was slashed. The others were scared out of their wits. They frantically fled in all directions. However, Bubble used the space-time domain and sealed the void. They could not escape at all. Lu Ming moved and killed another genius. Kill. Then, Lu Ming shouted again, and the divine sword art burst out and blasted into the bodies of the geniuses. Those geniuses below the Great Sage realm screamed, and then breathed their last. All those below the Great Sage realm had their souls torn apart by Lu Ming. Even the Great Sage geniuses were trembling and bleeding from their 7 orifices. Lu Ming had broken through to the Great Sage realm, and his battle prowess had skyrocketed. These geniuses who were at the same level as him, or 1 level higher, were no match for Lu Ming at all. The difference between them was too great. There were only 4 people left at the scene. The Golden Crow 4th Crown Prince, the 5th Crown Prince, the Sky Bird Palace, and the Sky Wolf Pagoda each had a prodigy. Lu Ming, you've killed so many of our men. You're dead for sure. The Golden Crow Fourth Prince roared. How laughable. You were the ones who came to kill Long Chen, and the others first. Could it be that you don't allow us to resist? Lu Ming stared at the Golden Crow Fourth Prince and said coldly. Then he charged towards the Golden Crow Fourth Prince. The Golden Crow Fourth Prince's expression was extremely ugly. At this moment, he seemed to have made some sort of decision. A ruthless expression flashed through his eyes. Then he opened his mouth and spat out a pair of wings. It was a pair of golden wings. At first glance, one could tell that it was the wings of the Golden Crow. The Golden Crow Fourth Prince spat out a few mouthfuls of blood on the wings. The wings shone brightly and the fire of the sun burned fiercely. The Golden Crow Fourth Prince turned into a beam of golden light and flew out like lightning. Crack! The spatial wall set up by the bubble couldn't stop him at all, and was directly penetrated. Then, the Golden Crow Fourth Prince ran away at an incredible speed and disappeared without a trace. Emperor-level Golden Crow wings. Lu Ming's face was gloomy. He didn't expect the Golden Crow Fourth Prince to have such a treasure. It was clearly a pair of Emperor-level Golden Crow wings. Together with the Golden Crow Fourth Prince's origin blood, his speed was extremely fast. In a short time, he had the speed of an Emperor-level Golden Crow. Lu Ming couldn't catch up with him at all. This was the best life-saving treasure. After the Golden Crow Fourth Prince ran away, the remaining three showed a glimmer of hope. Lu Ming, you'd better let me go. My fourth brother has escaped. The martial emperors outside will soon know that you killed so many of our people. They won't let you go. If you let me go, I can find my fourth brother first. When we get out, we'll keep this a secret. We won't say that you killed them. The Golden Crow Fifth Prince shouted. That's right. We can also keep this a secret. Otherwise, you'll die without a burial place when the martial emperors are angry. The Sky Pride of the Sky Bird Palace said. Oh, is that so? Lu Ming pondered. The Golden Crow Fifth Prince and the others were overjoyed. They thought that Lu Ming was really afraid and didn't dare to kill them. Suddenly, Lu Ming moved. He stabbed the Golden Crow Fifth Prince's dantian and nailed him to the ground. Lu Ming! The Golden Crow Fifth Prince shouted. The Golden Crow Fifth Prince screamed and looked at Lu Ming in disbelief. He could not figure out why Lu Ming would suddenly attack. What a fool! Even if today's incident didn't happen, do you think that those martial emperors would let me go? Lu Ming sneered. Because of what happened at the Thousand Spirit Exchange, the four factions were after him. The relationship between them couldn't be eased at all. They wouldn't rest until one of them was dead. What was the difference if today's incident didn't happen? The two Sky Prides of the Sky Wolf Pagoda and the Sky Bird Palace were also stunned. They didn't expect Lu Ming to suddenly attack. Kill! Kill! Huang Ling and Long Chen exploded with terrifying attacks. Those two were careless and cried out miserably as they were killed by Huang Ling and Long Chen. Their combat strength was inferior to Long Chen and Huang Ling. Now that they were distracted, how could they survive? You didn't have to do anything. Leave them to me. Lu Ming looked at Huang Ling and Long Chen. They came to kill us. How can we not kill them? Long Chen said without any fear. It's a pity that one of them escaped. If the martial emperors of the Wan family find out, I'm afraid they will go crazy. Lu Ming said. These were the top Sky Prides of the various factions. This was a great loss. Even the powerful factions of the sacred grounds would feel heartache. So what if they go crazy? They killed us first. I must report it to the palace master. It's good enough that we don't find trouble with them. Huang Ling said. Beside Huang Ling and the other Sky Prides swallowed hard. Their hearts were in turmoil and they couldn't calm down. A group of powerful Sky Prides died just like that. Most of them died at the hands of Lu Ming. He was really a god of death. How many Sky Prides had he killed during this period of time? Let's pack up and leave this place first, Lu Ming said. He then put away the storage rings of these people and left one after another, heading toward the mountain of alchemy furnaces. Lu Ming changed his form and aura again and followed beside Long Chen and the others. In another direction, a ray of light flashed and the Golden Crow Fourth Prince appeared. At this moment his face was pale. After he stopped, he spat out a few mouthfuls of blood and hurriedly put away his wings. Although that pair of wings was an excellent treasure for escaping, every time he used it, it consumed a lot of his body. Lu Ming, you killed several princes of the Golden Crow clan. No one can save you. You will die without a burial place. Chapter 1803. Lu Ming, Huang Ling, Long Chun, and the others continued to walk towards the Pill Furnace Mountain. After walking for another hour, they finally got close to the Pill Furnace Mountain. The closer they got, the more they felt the majesty of the Pill Furnace Mountain. It towered into the sky like an incomparably huge pill furnace. Moreover, there was a rich medicinal fragrance that constantly wafted over. It made one feel energetic and active. Boom! Boom! There was a violent explosion in front of them. It turned out that someone was attacking the mountain. There was a huge stone door on the mountain. A few young geniuses were constantly attacking it. All kinds of terrifying attacks landed on the stone door, causing violent explosions. However, the stone door did not budge at all. After attacking for a while, the few young geniuses retreated and shook their heads helplessly. It's impossible to break through. The entire mountain is indestructible. Someone sighed. There were many young geniuses in this area. All of them had gloomy expressions. They were outside the mountain gate, but could not enter. They were unwilling to accept it. The arrival of Lu Ming and the others attracted the attention of some people. A young man in a brocade robe had an extremely sharp aura. His gaze swept towards Huang Ling, Long Chun, and the others like lightning. He revealed a surprised expression and said coldly, "How can you guys still be here?" "Hee, why can't we be here?" Huang Ling retorted with a cold smile. Long Chun transmitted his voice to Lu Ming. This young man was also a genius of the Wan clan. He was the #1 genius of the Wan clan, Wan Zhengyang. Obviously, not all the geniuses of the Wan clan, Sky Wolf Pagoda, and the other forces went to attack Huang Ling and the others. Perhaps in their opinion, those people were enough. Wan Zhengyang's gaze was cold as thoughts kept running through his mind. He thought to himself, could it be that the others did not encounter Huang Ling? Long Chun and the others must be so. Otherwise, with that force, they could have killed Huang Ling and the others. It's nothing. You guys are quite lucky. Wan Zhengyang smiled faintly. At the side, the other geniuses of Sky Wolf Pagoda, Ziji Sect, and Skybird Palace also looked at Huang Ling and the others maliciously. They also thought that Huang Ling and the others were lucky that they did not encounter the people who surrounded them. However, there were geniuses of all the major forces here. It was not convenient for them to attack. Let me try. Another person stepped forward and attacked the stone door, attracting the attention of others. This person had the cultivation of great sage, great mastery. Among the younger generation of the ancient Moon Holy Land, he was definitely one of the top existences. Even so, he was still unable to break open the stone door. After a few dozen blows, the stone door did not budge at all. He could only retreat in defeat. Then other experts stepped forward, but it was useless. This included Wan Zhengyang. This person was worthy of being called the #1 genius of the Wan clan. His combat prowess was extremely terrifying, and his cultivation had reached the peak of the Great Saint realm. There were not many people in the entire ancient Moon Holy Land who had reached the peak of Great Sage at such a young age. However, Wan Zhengyang did not blast open the stone door. Later on, a few more geniuses at the same level as Wan Zhengyang appeared. They were all the strongest geniuses of various forces, but they still returned without any success. Many people were silent. Outside the mountain, emperor-level cultivators couldn't enter. They would be blocked. But now here, a stone door was blocking the path of a young genius. Could it be that he could not enter the Great Pill Development Hall? Many people were extremely unwilling. Did you all see that? There's a brand on the stone door. Huang Ling transmitted her voice to Long Chun and Lu Ming. I saw it. It's very similar to the Origin Immemorial Inheritance token. Lu Ming and Long Chun both nodded. They had seen that there was a brand in the center of the stone door. It looked exactly the same as the Origin Immemorial Inheritance token. Moreover, there were words in the middle of the brand. However, perhaps too many years had passed, the words were no longer clear. Do you want to give it a try? Huang Ling asked. Let's wait a little longer. There are so many people now. If we try it here and open the door, wouldn't it benefit others? Lu Ming said. Huang Ling and Long Chen nodded. Everyone started to wait here. However, after a few days, there were more and more people here. There was no sign of it decreasing. I'll lure them away. You guys take the opportunity to give it a try. With that, Lu Ming moved and went along the mountain of alchemy furnaces. He came to the other side of the mountain of alchemy furnaces, and then punched the mountain. The mountain shone and let out a violent roar. It could not be blasted open at all, but the sound spread far and wide. There's an entrance. An entrance has opened here. Lu Ming roared at the top of his voice. What? There's an entrance? Is it true? Whether it's true or not, let's go and take a look. Almost everyone moved and pounced in the direction of Lu Ming. Lu Ming changed his appearance again and left the place, heading in the direction of the stone door. After returning to the stone door, he saw that Huang Ling and Long Chen's faces were not looking good. It's useless. Long Chen shook his head at Lu Ming. Long Chen and I have tried just now. When we took out the origin immemorial inheritance token, there was no reaction at all. Huang Ling added. No reaction? Lu Ming frowned. Could it be that their guess was wrong? However, the brand looked very similar to the origin immemorial inheritance token. They guessed that it was very likely that the ancestor of the Great Pill Development Hall, who was also the successor of the origin immemorial sect, left this stone door. Only the successor of the origin immemorial sect could enter. Could it be that their guess was wrong? Was it just a coincidence? At this time the other young people had returned. Damn, we've been cheated. Which bastard shouted. If I find out who's tricking us, I'll kill him. Many people cursed, knowing that they had been cheated. Then, some people began to study the stone door, but they found nothing. Lu Ming, could it be that our inheritance tokens are not of a high enough level? You're a gold successor. It might be useful. Huang Ling transmitted her voice to Lu Ming. Lu Ming nodded. He had also thought of that possibility. Lu Ming, I'll lure them away. You try. Long Chen said. Then he quietly headed in another direction. Not long after, there was a rumbling sound. There's an entrance here. Then, there was another loud roar. Damn, it's the same trick again. That bastard is trying to trick us again. If it's true, let's go and take a look. Some people cursed and rushed in that direction. However, this time some people did not move and stayed behind, especially Wan Jingyang. He had been keeping an eye on Lu Ming and the group. At this moment, when he saw that Long Chen had disappeared, he was even more suspicious and stayed behind. Lu Ming furrowed his brows, but he could not be bothered anymore. The origin immemorial sect's gold inheritance token appeared in his hand. Buzz. As soon as the gold inheritance token appeared, it vibrated. Then a ray of light shot out and landed on the imprint on the stone door. It really works. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. You have the key? Wan Jingyang looked at Lu Ming with a fiery gaze. Buzz. The stone door vibrated and shone brightly. Then a door of light appeared. It's open. The Great Pill Development Scripture is mine. Chapter 1804. Lu Ming's face darkened. However, with so many people trying to enter the light door, it would be difficult for him to stop them. However, the result was unexpected. Wan Jingyang crashed into the light door, and his head was spinning. He could not enter and was blocked. Damn it, how could this be? Wan Jingyang roared. Then he looked at the token in Lu Ming's hand, which shone with a blazing light. Kid, give me your token. Wan Jingyang shouted and rushed toward Lu Ming. A battle sword appeared in his hand, and he slashed at Lu Ming, trying to cut off Lu Ming's arm. Swoosh. Lu Ming moved and dodged Wan Jingyang's attack at the speed of lightning. He dashed toward the light door. Stay here. Two young men appeared in front of Lu Ming. They stood in front of Lu Ming coldly and grabbed at Lu Ming. Get lost. Lu Ming shouted and threw out two punches in a row. Bang. Bang. The two young men's bodies shook violently, and they were sent flying backward, vomiting blood. The law of chaos. You're Lu Ming. One of them shouted. Lu Ming? Stay here. Behind him, Wan Jingyang emitted a cold killing intent. Sacred weapons flew out of his acupuncture points, and the aura of the weapons gathered. A terrifying sword chi slashed at Lu Ming. A battle sword appeared in Lu Ming's hand, and he slashed backward, clashing with Wang Jingyang's battle sword. Clang! There was a terrifying vibration. Lu Ming's body borrowed the force to move forward rapidly, rushing toward the light door. The light door was like a ripple, and it did not hinder Lu Ming at all. Lu Ming rushed into the light door and disappeared. Damn it! Wang Jingyang roared and slashed at the light door. However, the light door was indestructible, and there was no reaction at all. Moreover, the light dimmed, and the next moment, it disappeared. What's going on? At this moment, the other youths rushed over and asked in surprise. Lu Ming, it's Lu Ming. He went in. Wang Jingyang roared, extremely unwilling. What? Lu Ming went in? How can he get in? The others were even more confused. He has a key that can open a door of light. Damn it! Shouted Wang Jingyang furiously. Then he looked at Huang Ling coldly and said, Lu Ming has a key. Do you have one? Hand it over. Lu Ming has it, but why would I? Ridiculous. Huang Ling sneered. Of course you won't admit it. I'll search for it myself. Wang Jingyang took a step forward, and was about to force Huang Ling. As the number one person in the Wan clan's younger generation, Wang Jingyang's battle prowess was definitely powerful. Huang Ling was definitely not his match. Boom. At this moment, the entire Pill Furnace mountain shook violently. Following that, a halo of light erupted from the mountain and swept out in all directions. Anyone who was swept by the halo of light was sent flying out of the mountain. As the light swept across, all of the young men who had entered were swept away, flying out of the mountain. Outside the mountain, countless people stood in the sky, staring at the Pill Furnace mountain from afar, waiting. In the sky, several martial monarchs stood there, emitting a terrifying aura. It felt like there were dozens of worlds there, trying to devour everything. Suddenly, the Pill Furnace mountain shook violently. Following this, the crowd saw a glow bursting out. Following this, the youths were sent flying out of the mountain at a shocking speed. They only managed to stabilize their figures after flying out of the mountain. Damn it! Wang Jingyang let out a long howl, his fury soaring to the heavens. What's going on? In the sky, the martial monarchs of the Wan clan glared at Wang Jingyang with sharp eyes. Senior martial monarch, someone has entered the Pill Furnace mountain. Wang Jingyang said. Facing a martial monarch, even the younger generation would address him as senior martial monarch, out of respect. What? Someone has entered the Pill Furnace mountain? Who is it? The martial monarch of the Wan clan's eyes shone brightly. The powerhouses of the other forces were shocked. They began to look at the geniuses of their respective forces, hoping that it was one of them who had entered. Lu Ming, it's Lu Ming. Wang Jingyang's voice sounded again. Many people were shocked by his words. Lu Ming. It was Lu Ming again. Not long ago, Lu Ming's name had caused a stir in the ancient moon's sacred ground. He was so bold that he had killed more than 10 geniuses of the 4 major forces at the Thousand Spirit Exchange. There were also more than 10 senior great sages. In the end, the 4 major forces sent out a large number of powerhouses, and even martial monarchs to search for Lu Ming, but it was to no avail. Even some martial monarchs had heard of Lu Ming's name. After disappearing for a while, he had entered the Pill Furnace mountain without anyone noticing. Even some martial monarchs were surprised. It's this kid again. How did he enter? Is he alone? The martial monarch of the Wan clan asked. Lu Ming has the key and opened the door. Wang Jingyang briefly explained the situation inside. Then he looked at Huang Ling and Long Chun and said, You are with Lu Ming. Do you also have the key? Ridiculous. If we had the key, why would we be here? Huang Ling sneered. At this time, the martial monarch of the Wan clan noticed Huang Ling and Long Chun. He could not help but frown. Didn't he send people to kill Huang Ling, Long Chun, and the others? Why were they still alive? Then he looked around and found that several geniuses of the Wan clan were missing. He frowned and asked coldly, Jingyang, where are Tianqiao and the others? Why are they missing? Where are Dark Wolf and the others from Sky Wolf Tower? Why are they missing? Sky Bird Palace. Then the powerhouses of the major forces looked around and said coldly. They all found that some people were missing from their respective sections. Whoosh! The martial monarch of the Wan clan looked at Huang Ling and asked, "Speak, where did my Wan clan's Wan Tianchao and the others go?" Huang Ling's expression changed and she said, "Senior, you must be joking. How would I know where your Wan clan's geniuses are? They are all dead. They were killed by Huang Ling, Long Chun, and Lu Ming." At this time a loud cry rang out. Everyone looked over, and found that the one who spoke was the Golden Crow fourth prince. What? They were killed? The martial monarchs of the Wan clan, Sky Wolf Tower, and the others all burst out with terrifying auras. That's right. I saw it with my own eyes. They killed them. The Golden Crow fourth prince shouted, his eyes flickering with a sinister light. How dare you kill my Wan clan's geniuses? You are seeking death. The martial monarch of the Wan clan roared and took a step forward. This step shook heaven and earth as if the world was about to explode. The horrifying aura made everyone's expression change drastically as they frantically retreated. Huang Ling was the same. She quickly retreated, but she still felt a strong pressure. Her delicate figure trembled, and she vomited a mouthful of blood. However, at this moment, a figure appeared before Huang Ling. A similarly horrifying aura burst out and blocked the aura of the Wan clan's martial monarch. A bona fide martial monarch wants to make a move on a junior? Chapter 1805. Phoenix Palace's martial emperor stood in front of Huang Ling and stared coldly at Wan clan's martial emperor. His terrifying aura made Wan clan's martial emperor stop in his tracks. Huang Ling, what is going on? Phoenix Palace's martial emperor asked Huang Ling. It's like this. When Long Chun and I were heading to the Pill Furnace Mountain, we encountered people from the Wan family, Sky Wolf Pagoda, Sky Bird Palace, and Purple Pole Palace. Fortunately, Lu Ming arrived in time and saved us. Huang Ling explained. What? The four superpowers surrounded you? How dare you? Phoenix Palace's martial emperor was enraged when he heard what Huang Ling said. Dazzling phoenix flames erupted from his body, and a huge phoenix flew out. Wan clan's martial emperor's face changed, and an imperial weapon appeared in his hand. He threw it out to block the flaming phoenix. The four superpowers surrounded Huang Ling, Long Chun, and the others. In the end, they were killed. Now the martial emperor wants to deal with Huang Ling and the others. This is ridiculous. Do you think Phoenix Palace is easy to bully? Phoenix Palace's martial emperor said. A phoenix circled above his head, and its aura grew stronger. The people from the other sects and forces around them understood what was going on. The four major forces secretly sent geniuses to kill Huang Ling, Long Chun, and the rest. They did not know why, but Lu Ming intervened midway and caused them to be killed. Now they wanted to blame the people who were besieged. They looked at Wan clan, Sky Wolf Pagoda, and the other superpowers with a hint of mockery. No matter what, our geniuses were killed. Those who killed them will have to pay the price. Another figure stepped out with a ferocious aura. This person was Sky Wolf Pagoda's martial emperor. Then two more figures stepped out. They were Sky Bird Palace's and Amethyst Sect's martial emperors. They charged toward Huang Ling and the others. Ridiculous. Your men were trash and couldn't kill others. Instead, they were killed. Now the martial emperor wants to step in. Does that mean that I can kill any of you? Someone laughed coldly. Beside Long Chun, a tall and burly figure stepped out. He was like a giant elephant in the sky and his aura was violent. He was Divine Elephant Sect's martial emperor. The 6 martial emperors' auras exploded and they faced each other in the sky. The people around them were forced to retreat. Only the martial emperors could stand their ground. The 4 of you broke the rules like this. From now on, the younger generation shouldn't go out. Otherwise, everyone who comes out will die. A figure covered in lightning energy spoke indifferently. A terrifying pressure pressed down on the martial emperors of the Wan clan, Sky Wolf Pagoda, and the other 3 factions. This was the Thunder God Sect's martial emperor. Thunder God Sect and Phoenix Palace had always been on good terms. Naturally, they would stand on Phoenix Palace's side. The Thunder God Sect's martial emperor's words caused the eyes of all the martial emperors present to flicker. That's right, the younger generation wanted to kill others, and was killed in the end. Now the martial emperor wanted to take revenge. In that case, wouldn't the martial emperors of the other forces be able to stop controlling the situation? If they saw the younger generation of the enemy forces, or those below the martial emperor realm, they would directly attack and destroy them. This way, aside from the martial emperors themselves, all the major powers would die. Not a single one would survive. If that was the case, what was the point? This was a violation of the rules. The expressions of the martial emperors of the Wan clan, Heavenly Wolf Pagoda, and the other three forces turned unsightly. That's right, if they wanted to force their way in, the martial emperors of the Phoenix Palace and the Divine Elephant sect could also act. They had no choice but to be wary of killing those below the martial emperor realm. Their expressions were ugly, and they were caught in a dilemma. Where are old 4, old 5, and old 9? At that moment, a Golden Crow martial emperor looked at the Golden Crow 4th prince and asked, "Dead, they're all dead. They were killed by Lu Ming. Old ancestor, you must kill Lu Ming and avenge old 5 and the others." The Golden Crow 4th prince shouted. "What? Lu Ming again?" The surrounding people were dumbfounded. The princes of the Golden Crow clan were killed by Lu Ming. This Lu Ming was really audacious. First, he killed the geniuses of the 4 major factions. Now he even killed the princes of the Golden Crow clan. Audacious to the extreme, lawless and out of control. That was the impression that many experts had of Lu Ming. "Damn it, how dare you kill my Golden Crow prince?" The Golden Crow martial emperor let out a sharp cry that pierced the eardrums of many people. They almost vomited blood. The people of the Wan clan, Skywolf Pagoda, Ziji sect, and Skybird Palace were all killed by Lu Ming. This brat suddenly attacked. Despicable. The Golden Crow 4th prince shouted again. Compared to Huang Ling and Long Chun, he hated Lu Ming more. Now that the situation had reached a stalemate, he shifted all his hatred to Lu Ming. He had to kill Lu Ming. In fact, that was the case. Before he fled, the people he saw were all killed by Lu Ming. Lu Ming! Lu Ming! The martial emperors of the Wan clan, Skywolf Pagoda, and other factions softly repeated this name. Their voices were not heavy, but they were filled with cold killing intent. Lu Ming must die. Now that he has entered the Pill Furnace Mountain, we will wait here for him to come out. Once he comes out, kill him without mercy. The martial emperor of the Wan clan said coldly. Then the various major factions surrounded this area and waited for Lu Ming to come out. Lu Ming naturally did not know anything about what was happening outside. After he charged through the door of light, he arrived in a huge stone room. The stone room was extremely spacious and empty. There was almost nothing else in it except for an alchemy cauldron. There was a huge alchemy cauldron in the middle of the stone room. It was at least 100 meters tall. However, this alchemy cauldron was completely corroded. It was covered in rust and did not have any spirituality, like a piece of scrap metal. Lu Ming looked around but found nothing. Is this the Great Pill Evolution Hall? But there is nothing here, not to mention any inheritance. Lu Ming muttered, somewhat disappointed. Buzz. Suddenly, a buzzing sound rang out, startling Lu Ming. He retreated and looked around cautiously. Buzz. Another buzzing sound attracted Lu Ming's attention. He looked at the rusty alchemy cauldron. The sound came from the alchemy cauldron. Then, the sound of the alchemy cauldron vibrating grew louder. Crack! Lu Ming saw that the rust on the alchemy cauldron cracked and fell off continuously. A scarlet light spread out. Furthermore, there were many mysterious patterns on the alchemy cauldron. It smells so good. Lu Ming's expression changed. He could smell a strong medicinal fragrance coming from the alchemy cauldron. The alchemy cauldron vibrated more and more violently. The rust on it fell off in large chunks. Finally, a scarlet alchemy cauldron appeared in front of Lu Ming. It shone brilliantly like a divine radiance. Buzz! In the end, the alchemy cauldron vibrated and rose into the air, suppressing Lu Ming. Oh no! Lu Ming's expression changed. His body flashed rapidly as he tried to dodge. However, a terrifying force exploded from the alchemy cauldron. Lu Ming's surroundings seemed to be confined. He could not move his body even if he used all his strength. Nestle. Will I be smashed to death by this alchemy cauldron? That would be such a waste. Chapter 1806. The crimson cauldron emitted a terrifying aura that was scorching hot. As it approached Lu Ming felt as if he was being burnt. However, a strange scene occurred. When the cauldron approached Lu Ming, it shrunk rapidly and turned into a ray of light that rushed into Lu Ming's mind and disappeared. In the next moment, the cauldron appeared in Lu Ming's mind and emitted a blinding light. At the same time, a large amount of information rushed into Lu Ming's mind. Lu Ming subconsciously sat down cross-legged and began to digest the information. After an unknown period of time, Lu Ming opened his eyes. Great Development Cauldron, Great Development Pill Scripture. I didn't expect to receive the inheritance of the Great Development Pill Hall. Lu Ming muttered with a complicated expression. There were two main types of information that appeared in his mind. One was the Great Development Pill Scripture, and the other was the Sacred Scripture of Alchemy. The Great Development Pill Scripture is indeed mysterious. Just like the rumors, it can use the laws of heaven and earth to refine pills. Lu Ming's face was filled with amazement. Of course, he only had a rough idea of the contents of the Great Development Pill Scripture. He was still far from comprehending it. He would need to spend more time to comprehend it. There was another piece of information, which was the Great Development Pill Formation. There were ancestors of the Great Development Pill Hall, who had carved a powerful formation in the vicinity of this mountain. At this moment, all the information was in Lu Ming's mind, and could be easily grasped by Lu Ming. This place is protected by a large formation and rich in origin qi. It's not a bad place to live in the future. Lu Ming smiled. Tap, tap, tap. At this time, in the quiet stone room, there was a clear sound. This sound seemed to be the sound of a wooden stick hitting the ground. Someone's here. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Was there still a descendant of the Great Development Pill Hall alive? Lu Ming focused his attention and scanned his surroundings. The tapping sound was getting closer and closer. Then Lu Ming saw a figure walking out from the depths of the stone room. This was an old man wearing gray clothes. However, this old man was truly very old. Not much of his snow-white hair remained. His body was skinny, and the wrinkles on his face piled up like a mountain. There was no martial aura emanating from his body. He looked like an ordinary old man who was on the verge of death. But Lu Ming did not dare to be the slightest bit careless. Since the other party appeared in the Great Pill Evolution Hall, it was most likely not ordinary. How many years has it been? Someone is finally here. The old man spoke in a hoarse voice, but his voice was weak and feeble. He opened his murky eyes and looked at Lu Ming. Suddenly he bowed to Lu Ming. This old servant greets the new hall master. Lu Ming hurriedly waved his hand, and a force lifted the old man up. He asked, "Senior, why are you doing this? Also, who are you?" This old servant is just a servant of the Great Development Pill Hall. I was ordered to guard the Great Development Pill Hall and wait for the arrival of the new descendant of the Great Development Pill Hall. Finally, before I die, the new descendant of the Great Development Pill Hall has arrived. The old man said. I've become the descendant of the Great Development Pill Hall? Lu Ming asked. That's right. The previous hall master said that anyone who can enter here is the descendant of the Great Development Pill Hall. Otherwise, why would the Great Development Pill Furnace enter your sea of consciousness and recognize you as its master? The old man explained. Senior, what's going on? What does this have to do with the descendant of the Hunyuan sect? Can you explain it to me? Lu Ming asked the doubts in his heart. It's very simple. The previous hall master is also the descendant of the Hunyuan sect. He's a silver descendant. After saying that, a token appeared in the old man's hand. It shone with a silver light. It was the Hunyuan sect's silver inheritance token. The previous sect master said that the Great Development Pill Hall can only appear when the Hunyuan sect's gold descendant is born. The gold descendant is the descendant of the Great Development Pill Hall, and the hall master of the Great Development Pill Hall. Some time ago, through the silver inheritor token, I sensed that the gold inheritor of the Hunyuan sect had finally appeared. So, I opened the Great Evolution Pill Palace and waited for the arrival of the gold inheritor of the Hunyuan sect. I did not expect the palace master to arrive so soon. It seems like the palace master is in the ancient Moon Holy Land. The old man explained in detail. I see. Lu Ming suddenly understood. No wonder there was a mark of the Hunyuan sect's inheritance token on the stone door. No wonder no one could enter, not even Huang Ling and Long Chen. He was the only one who could enter. This was because the Great Development Pill Hall had appeared for him. If he did not come, no one else would be able to obtain the inheritance. Then he thought of another question. The silver inheritance token could sense the birth of a gold descendant. Did that mean that the previous Hunyuan sect's inheritors could sense it? Even some powerful existences knew that a gold descendant had appeared? It seemed like he had to be more careful in the future. Unless it was necessary, he could not reveal his identity as the gold descendant of the Hunyuan sect. Lu Ming pondered in his heart. If some powerful existences harbored ill intentions and knew that he was the gold inheritor of the Hunyuan sect, they might slap him to death. By the way, Senior, where are the others in the Great Development Pill Hall? Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat and he asked again. There's no one else. There's only me. If a few more days pass, I'm afraid I'll be buried. Luckily the heavens have eyes. Before I'm buried, the palace master came here and inherited the Great Evolution Pill Palace. Even if I die, I can rest in peace. The old man said, his voice filled with sadness. Lu Ming was shocked and he said, why is Senior the only one left in the Great Development Pill Hall? Legend has it that when one reaches the Martial Emperor realm, his lifespan is unlimited, and he is almost immortal. Lu Ming was indeed shocked. Lu Ming did not believe that the Great Development Pill Hall did not have a martial monarch realm expert. In the ancient era, the Great Development Pill Hall was famous in the Primordial Mountain. Their alchemy skills were unparalleled, and they were able to establish their own sect in the ancient Moon Sacred Ground. Moreover, after countless years, almost all the major factions in the ancient Moon Sacred Ground were on the move. Even martial monarchs showed up. How could such a faction not have a martial monarch? Lu Ming did not believe it. It's true that martial monarchs have an endless lifespan, but none of them are truly immortal. The old man sighed. Lu Ming was confused. Could it be that the rumors were wrong? Palace Master, you probably don't know this yet, right? The Martial Emperor realm has an endless lifespan. However, there will be a great calamity every 333 years. Those who manage to overcome it will have their cultivation tempered and become stronger. They might even be able to advance to the next level. However, those who fail to overcome it will be turned into ashes by the great calamity. The old man's explanation made Lu Ming's heart skip a beat. Martial monarchs had to face a great tribulation every 333 years. Those who failed to survive the tribulation would be turned into ashes. Martial monarchs were not free of worries. They had to face great tribulations to achieve immortality. In other words, martial monarchs pursued strength more than other cultivators because they would die if they were not strong enough. Each tribulation is more powerful than the previous one. If martial monarchs remain stagnant, they will die under the tribulation. So what if you're a martial monarch? You can't escape the punishment of the heavens. Chapter 1807. Could it be that all the previous palace masters have fallen under the great calamity? Lu Ming asked. More or less. The old man said as if he was reminiscing. In the ancient times, although the Great Pill Development Palace had a small number of people, it was extremely powerful. There were a few generations of palace masters who were still alive. Unfortunately, a few generations of palace masters did not manage to survive the great calamity and died under the heavenly tribulation. The Great Development Pill Scripture and the Great Development Pill Furnace of the Great Development Pill Palace were coveted by others. Previously, there were a few generations of palace masters guarding the palace, and no one dared to touch it. However, after the deaths of a few generations of palace masters, other forces started to get restless. After that, the previous palace master had no choice but to seal the Great Development Pill Palace and hide it in the endless void. In the endless years that followed, the others died of old age and the previous palace master also fell under the great calamity. Only my lineage is left to guard the Great Development Pill Palace for generations. The old man continued to explain, and Lu Ming roughly understood. The old man's lineage was the servant of the Great Development Palace, and also the guardian of the Great Development Pill Palace for generations. In the endless years that the Great Development Pill Palace was in seclusion, the others had all died of old age. The previous palace master of the Great Development Pill Palace had also fallen under the Great Calamity. The Great Development Pill Palace was considered to have lost its inheritance, and only the old man's lineage continued to be passed down. However, the old man was the only one left in the lineage. If Lu Ming still did not come, the entire Great Development Pill Palace might really disappear in the long river of history. Palace Master, you can cultivate here in the future. If there's anything you don't understand, feel free to ask this old servant. The old man said, Senior, you don't have to be so polite. Just call me Lu Ming. Lu Ming said. Lu Ming was not used to the old man calling him an old servant. No, you're the palace master of the Great Development Pill Palace, and I'm a servant of the Great Development Pill Palace. I should address you as Palace Master. Palace Master, don't call me Senior in the future. This old servant is not worthy of it. Palace Master, you can call me by my name. My name is Dan Kong. The old man said. Then I'll call you Uncle Kong. This matter is settled. Lu Ming said. The old man pondered for a moment before he nodded and said, Hall Master, first familiarize yourself with the Great Development Pill Formation and Great Development Pill Scripture. After that, this old servant will explain some of the profound uses of the Great Development Pill Furnace to Hall Master. It will be of great help to Hall Master. Many thanks, Uncle Kong. Lu Ming cupped his fists. A trace of a smile appeared on Dan Kong's face. He leaned on his walking stick and walked towards the front of the stone room, disappearing from there. Clearly, there was another space in front of the stone chamber. After the old man left, Lu Ming sat cross-legged and familiarized himself with the control of the Great Yin Pill Array. Several days passed in a twinkle. Lu Ming felt that his control over the Great Yin Pill Array was already more or less there. Let's go out for a while. I came in alone earlier. I wonder how Huang Ling, Long Chen, and the others are doing? Lu Ming pondered, feeling a little uneasy. Previously, he had killed many sky prides of the four major forces and the Golden Crow tribe, but the Golden Crow fourth prince had escaped. This matter would probably cause a commotion among the four major forces and the Golden Crow tribe. He did not know if Huang Ling and Long Chen would be implicated. If he did not get to the bottom of this, he would feel uneasy. Lu Ming stood up and walked towards the stone door in the stone chamber. Strangely, when Lu Ming walked to the stone door, a door of light automatically appeared on the stone door, and Lu Ming walked through it. Now Lu Ming could control the entire Great Yin Pill Array. Lu Ming could enter and exit any place in the Great Development Pill Hall freely. Outside the Pill Furnace Mountain, there were still many people waiting. A few days passed in the blink of an eye for a martial Dao expert. It was nothing. Someone has come out of the Pill Furnace Mountain. Suddenly, someone shouted loudly. Immediately after, everyone's gaze turned towards the Mountain of Cauldrons. A black-robed young man stepped out of the Pill Furnace Mountain. Who else could it be but Lu Ming? Lu Ming. The martial emperors from the Wan clan, Golden Crow tribe, and Sky Wolf Pagoda all looked at Lu Ming with eyes as sharp as divine swords. They did not hide their killing intent. However, Huang Ling, Long Chen, and the others' faces changed drastically. Lu Ming, don't come out. Quickly return to the Pill Furnace Mountain. Huang Ling shouted anxiously. Shut up. The martial emperors from the Wan clan shouted coldly. Their sharp eyes swept towards Huang Ling, causing her face to turn pale. Lu Ming naturally saw the people outside and heard Huang Ling's voice. However, he did not stop and continued to step out. He only stopped when he reached the edge of the Pill Furnace Mountain. He looked around and heaved a sigh of relief when he saw that Huang Ling and Long Chen were safe. Lu Ming, did you obtain the Great Development Pill Scripture and the Great Development Pill Furnace? The martial emperors from the Wan clan looked at Lu Ming with eyes as sharp as swords. So what if I did? So what if I didn't? Lu Ming raised his head and looked at the martial emperors from the Wan clan. He did not fear the martial emperors at all. Regardless of whether you did or not, come with me to the Wan clan. The martial emperors from the Wan clan said in a cold voice. It was a completely commanding tone, but there was no room for doubt. When a martial emperor spoke, his words carried enormous weight. Haha, how shameless. Since ancient times, treasures have been obtained by those who are fated. Even if Lu Ming obtained the Great Development Pill Scripture and the Great Development Pill Furnace, it is also his good fortune. It is his fortuitous opportunity. You, a martial emperor, actually want to snatch the fortuitous opportunity of a junior. Aren't you afraid of being ridiculed by the world? Beside Huang Ling, the martial emperors from Phoenix Palace spoke disdainfully. Who said that I want to snatch his fortuitous opportunity? He killed many of my Wan clan's prodigies and has to pay the price. Moreover, the evil spirit sect's vice sect master appeared earlier. It is obvious that the evil spirit sect is about to revive. I suspect that he is from the evil spirit sect and specializes in killing prodigies with the potential to become a martial emperor. Why can't I bring him back to the Wan clan for interrogation? The Wan clan's martial emperor quibbled, directly accusing Lu Ming of being from the evil spirit sect. That's right. Lu Ming specializes in killing prodigies. We must bring him back for interrogation. The Heavenly Wolf Pagoda's martial emperor also spoke, greed flashing in his eyes. In their opinion, not only had Lu Ming obtained the Great Development Pill Scripture and the Great Development Pill Furnace, but he also had other secrets. If they could obtain Lu Ming's secrets, it would definitely be of great use to their various factions. Haha, what a joke. This is a martial emperor? You are actually so despicable. Lu Ming sneered, his words full of mockery and disdain. How dare you, a junior? Not only do you not kneel and greet a martial emperor, but you also dare to mock me. I will cripple you now. The Wan clan's martial emperor shouted, and a violent aura erupted from his body, pressing toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming's figure flashed, and he retreated at lightning speed. You want to leave? In front of me? That is wishful thinking. The Wan clan's martial emperor shouted coldly. He took a step forward, and heaven and earth rumbled. Then he waved his hand, and an incomparably huge hand blotted out the sky, grabbing toward Lu Ming. Huang Ling, Long Chun, and the others' expressions changed drastically. The Wan clan's martial emperor was too shameless. He actually made a move on a junior. However, Lu Ming's expression was still calm. He quickly retreated and at the same time, he waved his hand. The entire territory around the Pill Furnace Mountain lit up, and a halo spread out, rushing toward that huge hand. Boom. Chapter 1808. The Wan clan's martial emperor's face darkened. He took a step forward and pointed his finger like a sword. A shocking sword light slashed towards Lu Ming. However, another halo of light rushed out and dispersed this sword radiance. Trying to stop me with the array? How naive. The Wan clan's martial emperor shouted. He took a step forward and rushed into the area of the Pill Furnace Mountain. At the same time, his body glowed and a few weapons appeared. The moment these weapons appeared, a terrifying battle weapon chi soared into the sky. A vast aura covered the sky. Each weapon was dazzling and even the sun was overshadowed. Emperor weapons. These weapons were all emperor weapons. The Wan clan's martial emperor cultivated the 10,000 weapon art and sealed emperor weapons. He held a battle sword in his hand and slashed out. Boom. The sword light and the halo above the Pill Furnace Mountain clashed fiercely, causing explosions to ring out. Go. Lu Ming stood in the void, shrouded in endless halos. He waved his hands and the entire area of the Pill Furnace Mountain glowed. Beams of halos appeared, as though they had transformed into blades of death, charging toward the Wan clan's martial emperors. Bang! Bang! A series of explosions rang out, and the Wan clan's martial emperor's body shook. He stepped on the air and retreated. Everyone at the scene was shocked. Lu Ming actually dared to fight with a martial emperor. Moreover, he was able to force the martial emperor to retreat. This was simply unbelievable. Lad, you can control the array here. You have indeed obtained the inheritance of the Great Pill Development Hall. The Wan clan's martial emperor shouted. His long hair fluttered in the wind and his aura surged. Everyone was shocked. No wonder Lu Ming could fight with a martial emperor. It turned out that he controlled the array of the Great Pill Development Hall. However, it was still shocking that he had the guts to fight with a martial emperor. Ordinary people would tremble in fear when standing before a martial emperor. They would not even dare to breathe loudly. They would not even dare to think about fighting with a martial emperor. Even if an ordinary person controlled such a large array, it would be useless. Lu Ming lived up to his reputation. He was really bold. So what if you have a large array? I will let you know what a martial emperor is. Those below a martial emperor are just ants. The Wan clan's martial emperor roared. His aura became even more terrifying. It was as though a world had appeared around him. Terrifying energy gushed out from the world and poured into the imperial weapon. The monarch weapons floated in the air. Their power grew more and more terrifying as they pressed down on Lu Ming. Martial Emperor's world force. Someone exclaimed. Once the martial emperor's world force was unleashed, it could crush and destroy everything. However, Lu Ming's expression remained calm. He was very clear on how powerful the Great Dan formation was. Kill! Lu Ming shouted, daring to shout kill at the martial emperor. At the same time, the Pill Furnace Mountain emitted many halos, rushing out at an extremely shocking speed, instantly attacking the martial emperor of the Wan clan, exceeding the reaction speed of many people. Those halos of light bombarded the imperial armaments non-stop, and began to fight against them intensely. The imperial armament trembled violently. The world energy contained within the imperial armament seemed to be on the verge of being dispersed. Break! The Wan clan's martial emperor roared. Heaven and earth were shaking. The power of the world gushed out continuously. However, it was useless. The Wan clan's martial emperor was forced to retreat. Boom! Boom! Every time he took a step back, the void seemed to be on the verge of tearing apart. Although the space of the Yuan continent was extremely stable, many times more stable than the Divine Wilderness continent, martial emperors were too powerful. They could already affect space. A full-powered attack could probably tear space apart. The Wan clan's martial emperor was no match for them and kept retreating. This brat is too daring. He might be from the evil spirit sect. There are no rules when dealing with people from the evil spirit sect. We have to take him down. Brother Wan, I'll lend you a hand. A cold voice rang out. Following that, a figure let out a cry and turned into a huge black eagle, pouncing towards Lu Ming. This person was a fiend arch from the Skybird Palace. How shameful. You need 2 martial emperors to join forces to deal with a junior. You even found such a high-sounding reason. I can't take it anymore. The martial emperor beside Huang Ling shouted. He stepped forward and struck out with his palm. A phoenix flew out and pounced towards the Skybird Palace's fiend arch. Your Phoenix Palace is covering up for Lu Ming. Have you sided with the evil spirit sect? Kill! The Skybird Palace's fiend arch shouted. He flapped his wings like a heavenly blade and scattered the phoenix formed by the Phoenix Palace's martial emperor. At the same time, he did not forget to accuse Phoenix Palace. Bullshit! The Phoenix Palace's martial emperor cursed. His aura erupted as he struck out with his palms. Phoenix cries rang out as phoenixes flew out and engaged in a fierce battle with the Skybird Palace's fiend arch. Phoenix Palace has interfered. We'll settle this score later. Today, we must take down Lu Ming. Another cold voice rang out as a figure stepped forward. This person was covered in purple light that shot into the sky. It was a martial emperor from the Ziji sect. You've gone too far. The Divine Elephant sect's martial emperor spoke. He stepped forward and appeared in front of the Ziji sect's martial emperor. Your Divine Elephant sect wants to interfere too. I want to experience your Divine Elephant sect's ultimate technique. The Ziji sect's martial emperor spoke. Purple light burst forth, forming a terrifying attack that blasted towards the Divine Elephant sect's martial emperor. As you wish. The Divine Elephant sect's martial emperor shouted and punched out. A group of giant elephants formed and stepped on the void. They leaped towards the Ziji sect's martial emperor, as if they were going to crush him. Several martial emperors had erupted here. The martial emperor's battle was earth-shattering. The others were shocked and frantically retreated, afraid of being affected. Today you can't stop us. Lu Ming must be taken down. Another voice rang out. It came from the Sky Wolf Pagoda's fiend arch. He roared and transformed into a giant wolf. Like a mountain, He erupted with a violent aura and rushed towards Lu Ming. This time no one stopped him. Phoenix Palace and the Divine Elephant Sect were close to Lu Ming because of Huang Ling and Long Chen's relationship. That was why they had helped Lu Ming. However, the other forces had no relationship with Lu Ming. Of course, they would not help Lu Ming and offend the Wan clan, Skywolf Pagoda, and the other major forces. How dare you kill the Crown Prince of the Golden Crow clan? You must die. The Fiend Arch of the Golden Crow clan shouted and transformed into a giant three-legged golden crow. His body was covered in blazing divine sunfire. He flapped his wings and charged towards Lu Ming like a golden divine blade. The three martial emperors attacked at the same time to take down Lu Ming. The three martial emperors joined forces to take down Lu Ming. Even if Lu Ming was taken down today, or even killed in battle, his name would be recorded in the history of the ancient moon sacred ground. Facing the three martial emperors, Lu Ming's expression remained calm. However, there was a raging fire burning in his eyes. This was a strong killing intent. He retreated and controlled the Dian Grand formation. Rays of light formed and bombarded the three emperor-level powerhouses. Don't let him retreat into the Pill Furnace Mountain. The martial emperor of the Wan clan shouted coldly. He controlled the martial emperor weapon and sent the halos flying towards Lu Ming. At the same time, the Fiend Arch of Skywolf Pagoda and the three-legged Golden Crow attacked from both sides. The terrifying attacks broke through the halos and rapidly approached Lu Ming. Chapter 1809. Just as everyone thought that Lu Ming would flee into the Cauldron Mountain to hide, Lu Ming suddenly stopped. Boundless light surged out from the surroundings, blocking the three emperor-level experts. At the same time, a scarlet light shot out from Lu Ming's glabella. It was a cauldron, the Great Pill Derivation Cauldron. The Great Pill Derivation Cauldron grew to a height of 10,000 feet and heavily smashed into the ground. Boom! The earth rumbled as Lu Ming descended from the sky and stood on top of the Great Pill Derivation Cauldron. It's the Great Pill Derivation Cauldron. The Wan clan's martial emperors, the Heavenly Wolf Pagoda's martial emperors, and the Golden Crow tribe's martial emperors all had blazing eyes as they stared at the Great Pill Derivation Cauldron. The Great Pill Derivation Cauldron, together with the Great Pill Derivation Scripture, could refine pills with the laws and seize the fortune of heaven and earth. Such a treasure was a fatal temptation to any faction. Hand over the Great Pill Derivation Cauldron. The Wan clan's martial emperors shouted as they charged at Lu Ming with their emperor-level weapons. The Heavenly Wolf Pagoda's martial emperors and the Golden Crow tribe's martial emperors were not slow at all. They unleashed terrifying attacks that blasted away several light halos as they charged at Lu Ming. The three emperor-level experts charged at Lu Ming at the same time. Lu Ming stood on top of the cauldron, his eyes flickering with madness. The Wan clan, Heavenly Wolf Pagoda, Golden Crow tribe, Purple Extreme Sect, and Skybird Palace. These five factions had gone too far. From the beginning, Lu Ming and the five factions had only been fighting among the younger generation. Deaths and injuries were unavoidable in a fight among the younger generation. However, when the younger generation of these factions was no match for Lu Ming, they directly sent out the older generation. This time it was even better. They directly sent out emperor-level experts to kill Lu Ming. Since that was the case, Lu Ming would go crazy. Otherwise, they would really treat him as a junior that could be casually crushed. Lu Ming stood still as the attacks of the three emperor-level experts rapidly approached him. Great Dan formation smelt all things refined for me. Lu Ming roared. At this moment, the Great Development Cauldron let out a thunderous roar, as though it was resonating with the entire world. Resplendent light erupted in the area, and endless halos condensed from all directions, forming an incomparably huge cauldron that wanted to suppress the three sovereigns. Break! The three emperor-level powerhouses roared as their terrifying attacks bombarded the cauldron. Great Pill Derivation Furnace open! Lu Ming coldly shouted. The lid of the Great Development Cauldron beneath his feet opened, revealing a pitch-black space. A terrifying attractive force erupted from the cauldron, as if it wanted to swallow everything in the world and refine it into a pill. The three emperor-level experts were sucked into the cauldron by the terrifying suction force. Not good. The three monarch-level masters' faces changed drastically. They unleashed their world energy and struggled madly, trying to break out of the encirclement. Great Dan Formation suppress. Lu Ming waved his hands, controlling the Great Dan Formation in this area with all his might. At this moment, Lu Ming, the Great Development Cauldron, and the Great Development Cauldron seemed to have merged into one, erupting with astonishing energy. If the Great Development Cauldron was placed outside without the assistance of the Great Development Cauldron, Lu Ming's current cultivation would not be able to exert such a powerful force to affect the Emperor-level powerhouses. However, with the help of the Great Development Cauldron, it was different. Its power was astonishing, and it seemed to have recovered, erupting with an astonishing suction force. In the sky, endless halos condensed, forming a huge cauldron with raging flames burning inside, suppressing the 3 Emperor-level powerhouses. The 3 Emperor-level powerhouses roared and resisted with all their might. However, their bodies still fell bit by bit, and were about to be sucked into the Great Development Cauldron. The spectators from afar were dumbfounded. Each of them widened their eyes and stood there in a daze. Shock could no longer be used to describe their feelings. What was Lu Ming trying to do? Was he trying to kill the sovereigns? Was he trying to put the 3 sovereigns into the cauldron and refine 3 Emperor-level pills? This simply could not be described as audacious. His courage was even greater than the heavens. A junior, a great saint, actually wanted to kill the sovereigns. Regardless of whether he could succeed or not, such thoughts and actions were absolutely crazy. Martial emperors, even the weakest minor martial emperor realm, were still martial emperors. They had the power to destroy the heavens and earth. Their lifespan was endless, and they could condense a small world. Such a person, no matter where they were, would be high and mighty, overlooking all living beings. When ordinary people faced emperor-level powerhouses, it was like a mortal facing a deity. They would not even dare to have any thoughts of blasphemy. However, Lu Ming wanted to kill the sovereigns. One could only imagine how shocked the surrounding people were. Most importantly, the 3 sovereigns were really falling toward the Great Development Cauldron. Lu Ming, I will crush your bones and scatter your ashes. The Wan clan's martial emperor roared crazily. He was really crazy. As a martial emperor, he could not take down Lu Ming personally. He needed help from others, but now, he was actually defeated by Xiao Feng. In the future, his reputation as a martial emperor was destined to be ruined. He hated Lu Ming to the extreme. He hated Lu Ming for resisting. Why did he not obediently follow him to the Wan clan, and obediently give up everything? He was just an ant, yet he dared to resist and humiliate him. Explode. The Wan clan's martial emperor's eyes flashed with pain. He roared and a sovereign weapon flew up. Then it emitted a bright light and exploded. The Wan clan's martial emperor was forced to explode his sovereign weapon. The explosion of the sovereign weapon was shockingly powerful. The terrifying energy tore a hole in the cauldron formed by the Great Development Cauldron. The Wan clan's martial emperor used the other 2 sovereign weapons to protect himself, and rushed out of the hole. Jie. The golden crow let out a long cry. The golden crow beast emperor flapped his wings and rushed out of the hole, like a beam of golden light. Roar! The heavenly wolf pagoda's beast emperor also wanted to rush out. Stay here. Lu Ming shouted as he controlled the Great Development Cauldron. The cauldron quickly recovered and the hole shrunk. No. The heavenly wolf pagoda's beast emperor roared and smashed at the hole. Unfortunately, the hole had already disappeared. The huge cauldron released a terrifying flame that pressed down on the heavenly wolf pagoda's beast emperor. At this moment, the heavenly wolf pagoda's beast emperor was the only one left. It was even harder for him to resist. The huge cauldron pushed him toward the Great Development Cauldron. Roar! The heavenly wolf pagoda's beast emperor struggled frantically. He unleashed his world energy, and his body expanded rapidly. However, it was useless. His body quickly fell into the cauldron. Finally, his huge body entered the cauldron. Clang! Lu Ming controlled the Great Development Cauldron's lid and covered the cauldron. Refine! Lu Ming shouted as he stood on the cauldron. His long hair fluttered. Boom! Fierce alchemy flames spewed out from the bottom of the cauldron. At the same time, the Great Development Cauldron turned into beams of light and surrounded the cauldron, suppressing it. Boom! 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 Chapter 1810. If you want to kill me, you'll have to be prepared to be killed. Turn into ashes. Lu Ming roared, his eyes flashing with killing intent. He controlled the cauldron with all his might, intending to refine the Heavenly Wolf Pagoda's demon emperor. Everyone at the scene sucked in a breath of cold air, including those emperor-level experts. Lu Ming was really going to refine an emperor-level powerhouse. If he succeeded, it would shock the entire ancient Moon Holy Land. A great sage slaughtering an emperor. Even with the help of the Grand Array, there were few such examples since ancient times. It would probably pierce through the heavens. Lu Ming, let go of the Heavenly Wolf Pagoda's demon emperor. Do you think the Heavenly Wolf Pagoda only has one demon emperor? The Holy Land's foundation is far beyond your imagination. If you really anger us, you'll die without a burial place. The Wan clan's martial emperor roared. He clenched his fists, his eyes burning with rage. He had actually lost an imperial armament in this battle. His heart was dripping with blood. That was an extremely rare emperor weapon. How many years had he spent cultivating it? He had only obtained 3 emperor weapons. He had paid a huge price and put in a lot of effort. Previously, he had no choice but to self-destruct one. He wished he could skin Lu Ming alive to vent his anger. Now, Lu Ming was going to refine the Heavenly Wolf Pagoda's demon emperor. Haha, martial emperors are indeed superior to all living beings. At first, the 3 martial emperors wanted to kill me, but they were no match for me and were defeated by me. Now they're using the power behind them to suppress me. How impressive, how impressive. I've learned something new. Lu Ming sneered, but everyone could hear the deep mockery in his voice. 3 martial emperors were dealing with a person of the younger generation. After being defeated, they actually brought out the faction behind them. This was truly shameless. The Wan clan's martial emperor's face was extremely gloomy. On the other hand, the rest of the members of the Wan family looked ashamed and resentful. They secretly hated Lu Ming. Lu Ming, how dare you humiliate my Wan clan? You'll regret it sooner or later. Wan Zhengyang gritted his teeth. The humiliation of the Wan clan's martial emperor was equivalent to the humiliation of the entire Wan clan. In the future, when they went out, they would definitely be looked down upon and criticized by others. Of course, they wouldn't think about whether or not they were the cause of all this. They would only blame everything on Lu Ming. Lu Ming, let go of the shifter emperor. Let him go. Otherwise, you won't be able to escape no matter where you go. The people of the Heavenly Wolf Pagoda all roared. Some of them turned into giant wolves and glared at Lu Ming. If you want to save your shifter emperor, come and save him yourself. Lu Ming said as he tried his best to refine the Skywolf Pagoda's faith arch. However, how could the demons of Heavenly Wolf Pagoda dare to go? What a joke. Even the shifter Tharch was trapped in the cauldron and couldn't even protect himself. If they went to save him, wouldn't they be courting death? A bunch of gutless rats. Lu Ming sneered. He glanced at the Wan clan's martial emperors and the Golden Crow demonic monarch and said coldly, "If you want to kill me, you have to be prepared to be killed by me, no matter who you are." No matter who it was? Even if it was a martial emperor or a faith arch, Shaochen would still kill them. Arrogant. How arrogant. No matter how talented you are destined to not go far. Kill. The Wan clan's martial emperor shouted. He controlled an emperor weapon and threw it at Lu Ming from afar. However, he did not dare to get close at all. He only attacked Lu Ming from afar, trying to save the Heavenly Wolf Pagoda's faith arch. At the same time, the Golden Crow demonic monarch also made his move. He flapped his wings, and suns suddenly appeared in the sky. The suns fell, smashing towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming manipulated the Great Amplification Elixir Array to form many light screens, blocking the surroundings. Right now he did not attack. He just needed to block. He focused on refining the Heavenly Wolf Pagoda's faith arch. Since they wanted to kill him, he had to make them pay a painful price. The Great Pill Formation blocked the attacks of the Wan clan's martial emperors and the Golden Crow demonic monarch. Roar! Roar! Roars came from the Great Pill Formation cauldron, and the roars of the Heavenly Wolf Pagoda's faith arch. The roars were filled with anger, unwillingness, and fear. Yes, everyone heard the roars of fear. Moreover, as time passed, the voice of the Heavenly Wolf Pagoda's Faith Arch seemed to be getting weaker and weaker. Everyone looked at each other. Could it be that the high and mighty Faith Arch was really going to be refined? Let go of him. The Wan clan's martial emperor roared and attacked even more fiercely. However, they were all blocked by the Great Pill Formation Cauldron. As for the Ziji sect's martial emperor and the Sky Bird Palace's Faith Arch, they were blocked by the Divine Elephant sects and Phoenix Palace's martial emperors. They could not help. What a joke. You want to kill me, but you still ask me to let go of him. Idiots. Lu Ming berated them directly. He did not care if they were martial emperors or not. He did not give them any face at all. Some of the youths felt their blood boil. He wanted to refine the Faith Arch in front of so many experts. He scolded the martial emperors and took revenge. He could do whatever he wanted. How delightful and carefree was this? They yearned for it. Of course, if it were them, they would not dare to do it. The Wan clan's martial emperors felt as if there was a rock in their chest. Ever since he had broken through to the martial emperor realm, no one had dared to speak to him like that. The other party was just a young man, but he could not do anything to him. It was extremely frustrating. At that moment, the voice in the Great Pill Furnace became softer and softer. The Sky Wolf Pagoda's experts felt their hearts sink. In the end, an unwilling voice came out of the Great Pill Furnace. Then it became completely silent. Huff! Huff! Everyone heaved a heavy sigh of relief as their hearts were filled with waves of shock. A Faith Arch had fallen just like that? Killed by a junior? Lu Ming had killed a Faith Arch. This matter was bound to cause a huge commotion in the ancient Moon Sacred Ground. The Wan clan's martial emperors and the Golden Crow Faith Arch retreated with ugly expressions. There was a trace of horror in their eyes. Just now, if the two of them had not been fast enough and decisive enough to rush out, the consequences would have been unimaginable. If either of them had been trapped in the Great Pill Furnace, they would have ended up like the Sky Wolf Pagoda's martial emperor. In addition, the martial emperors of the Purple Pole sect, Sky Bird Palace, Phoenix Palace, and Divine Elephant sect also stopped fighting and looked at Lu Ming. Lu Ming did not open the alchemy furnace immediately. To be on the safe side, he continued to control the fire in the alchemy furnace and continued to refine it for a while. When he could no longer sense any signs of life in the alchemy furnace, Lu Ming then opened the alchemy furnace. Clang! When the furnace was opened, everyone's heart skipped a beat. Was the Sky Wolf Pagoda's martial emperor really dead? The moment the furnace lid was opened, an extremely powerful energy rushed into the sky. It was the power of the laws and also the power of the world. However, it dissipated with the wind. The Sky Wolf Pagoda's martial emperor did not appear again. He had really been refined. Everyone's heart skipped a beat. What a pity. I did not comprehend the Great Pill scripture, and my cultivation is not high enough. Otherwise, I could have refined an emperor pill. Lu Ming muttered softly. However, the people present were all experts. Although his voice was soft, they heard it clearly. This guy still wants to refine an emperor pill. Chapter 1811. Lu Ming, you killed our demon emperor. Our Skywolf Pagoda will never let you go. Just wait for your death. An expert from the Skywolf Pagoda roared and turned into a giant wolf. His eyes were cold. You're talking as if you'll let me go if I don't kill him. Lu Ming said indifferently with a hint of disdain. The other party had been pressuring him step by step. Even if he didn't kill the other party, they wouldn't let him go. So he might as well kill to his heart's content. Killing a martial emperor from the other party was a gain for him. Roar. At this moment, a loud roar came from the distant sky. This roar was earth-shattering, causing the mountains and rivers to tremble. Even the sun in the sky seemed to tremble, as if it was about to fall. Not good. In the sky, the expressions of the martial emperors changed drastically. Their auras erupted and the power of the world circulated, enveloping the experts of their respective sections. The terrifying sound wave swept across, causing the defenses set up by the martial emperors to tremble violently. Some of the people who didn't have the protection of the martial emperors exploded in the air like fireworks. They died before they could even react. Those who were lucky enough to survive turned pale, and were terrified. What kind of existence was this? A loud roar could kill a large number of experts. Even the martial emperor's expressions changed drastically. Then, everyone saw a flash of light and a giant wolf appeared on the scene. This giant wolf was silver all over, and its silver fur shone brightly. It was 10,000 feet tall and incomparably huge. Its cold eyes looked at Lu Ming. Layers of strange light surrounded his body like a divine halo, making him look like a legendary god. The divine light of the world, a true emperor expert. The martial emperor of Phoenix Palace said solemnly. Everyone's hearts trembled. It was a true emperor. Needless to say, the other party must be from the Skywolf Pagoda. Even a true emperor had appeared. The martial emperor realm was divided into the minor emperor realm, intermediate emperor realm, great emperor realm, and heavenly emperor realm. The minor emperor realm had formed a small world. However, at this time, the small world was in the process of evolution. It was chaotic and living beings had no way of entering. Once they entered, they would be crushed to pieces. Therefore, the minor emperor realm was also called the illusory emperor. In other words, the small world hadn't taken shape yet and creatures couldn't enter. They were considered illusory emperors, not true emperors. At intermediate emperor, the minor world would be stable enough for living beings to enter. This level was also known as true emperor. This meant that he was a true emperor. As for great emperors, they controlled the great Tao. Small worlds could even give birth to living creatures. This was even more mysterious and unfathomable. At this realm, they were already at the peak of the world. As for the celestial emperor, he was a legend in the current world. The emperors that had appeared before were all minor emperors, void emperors. But now, the pagoda sent out a true emperor. Once a true emperor's minor world was formed, they would emit a worldly light. Kid, are you the one who killed my heavenly wolf pagoda's demon emperor? The eyes of the true emperor-level giant wolf shone like two suns. It looked at Lu Ming and said in a cold voice, "Not bad." Lu Ming replied. He wasn't afraid of a true emperor. If he was going to fight, then he would fight to his heart's content. These great powers were pressing him step by step, so he could only fight to the end. Very well, I'll extract your soul and burn it in purgatory flame. You'll beg for death. The wolf said, brimming with murderous intent. Ask him for his secrets first. At this moment, another voice sounded. Then the void trembled and cracked open. A figure stepped out from the void. It was a middle-aged man with a cold expression and a noble aura. His body was also surrounded by a divine halo. Everyone took a deep breath. Another true emperor had appeared. Greetings, ancestor. When the Wan clan's martial emperor saw this person, he bowed respectfully. This was a true emperor from the Wan clan. Screech. A terrifying bird cry rang out. Then everyone saw a golden light flying over from afar. When the golden light flew past, the space actually rippled like water, and a hideous crack appeared. Next, the golden light receded and a huge three-legged golden crow appeared in the sky. Its sharp eyes swept through the area, causing everyone to feel a chill. It was another true emperor from the three-legged golden crow race. In the ancient moon's sacred ground, true emperors wouldn't appear unless something major happened. They would focus on cultivating or traveling in order to become stronger, in order to deal with the tribulation that occurred once every 300,000 years. But today, because of Lu Ming, true emperors appeared one after another. Not good. Huang Ling, Long Chun, and the others who were close to Lu Ming became anxious. Your Excellency, what should we do? Huang Ling anxiously transmitted to the martial emperor of Phoenix Palace. This is difficult. Our Phoenix Palace can't interfere in this situation. If our true emperors were to intervene, it would turn into an all-out war. That's why I'm afraid our true emperors won't interfere. The martial emperor said. His words made Huang Ling even more anxious. Would Lu Ming be able to fend off 3 true emperors with the help of the Great Expansion Elixir Array? The power of a true emperor wasn't something a minor emperor could compare to. No one could compete with a grand emperor. The 3 true emperors stared coldly at Lu Ming. There was a grave look in Lu Ming's eyes. With a thought, the great evolution cauldron shrunk rapidly and floated above his head. At the same time, near the Cauldron Mountain, endless rays of light flashed and circles of light appeared. It was dazzling. You think a mere formation can stop me? The true Emperor of Skywolf Pagoda uttered coldly. He stepped into the air and advanced towards Lu Ming. Buzz. Buzz. Rings of light rushed towards the true Emperor of Skywolf Pagoda. 2 silver rays shot out from the pagoda's eyes. He slashed forward and destroyed all the rings. He was unstoppable. True emperors were much stronger than void emperors. Condense. Lu Ming roared and focused on controlling the formation. At the same time, the cauldron vibrated and resonated with the formation. A gigantic cauldron appeared in the sky, emitting a dazzling radiance before blasting at the true Emperor of Skywolf Pagoda. Break for me. The true Emperor of Skywolf Pagoda roared and unleashed a wolf claw. Boom. The wolf claw struck the cauldron, resulting in a terrifying explosion. However, the cauldron didn't break and managed to stop the attack. The true Emperor of Skywolf Pagoda's eyes turned cold after seeing this, and unleashed another claw attack. Lu Ming focused on controlling the cauldron to attack the true Emperor of Skywolf Pagoda. This cauldron contained the full power of the Great Development Cauldron and Great Development Pill formation. It almost suppressed 3 martial emperors and killed a demon emperor in the end. Boom. Chapter 1812. At the same time, Lu Ming retreated back into the Cauldron Mountain. True emperors were too strong. Even with the formation, he wasn't a match for them. Perhaps there was a chance of survival. Don't even think about leaving. The true emperor of the Wan clan said coldly. He stepped into the Pill Cauldron Mountain and waved his hand. A small golden pagoda flew out and grew to 10,000 feet in size, crashing down on Lu Ming. Not good. Lu Ming's expression changed drastically. This force was too strong. He had no choice but to stop and control the Dian formation to set up layers of defense around him. Boom! The huge pagoda suppressed Lu Ming, and a terrifying force blasted Lu Ming like a violent storm. The defense set up by the Great Amplification Elixir Array let out a terrifying roar and shattered continuously. Lu Ming's body was directly blasted to the ground. He retreated continuously for more than 10 steps. Every step he took created a big pit in the ground. After more than 10 steps, Lu Ming stabilized his body and spat out a few mouthfuls of blood. If it wasn't for the cauldron, he wouldn't have just been injured. Despicable, several true emperors working together against a junior. Huang Ling and Long Chen clenched their fists. They wanted to help, but there was nothing they could do. A true emperor could kill them with a single breath. Hand over the Great Development Pill Scripture and Great Development Cauldron. Then kneel and cripple your cultivation. Perhaps I'll let you die a quick death. The true emperor of the Wan clan placed his hands behind his back and looked down at Lu Ming. Don't even think about it. Lu Ming roared with an unyielding glint in his eyes. Tough bones, let's see how long you can last. The Wan true emperor reached out with his palm and pressed down. Buzz. The pagoda trembled as a terrifying attack came crashing down on Lu Ming. Lu Ming used the cauldron and formation to stop them. However, most of the formation's power was used to stop the true emperors from the pagoda. The remaining power couldn't stop the true emperors from the Wan clan. Clank! The Great Amplification Alchemy Furnace vibrated. Lu Ming's body was hit by a terrifying force. His bones made cracking sounds and blood seeped out of his skin. Bam! Bam! Lu Ming continued to retreat while coughing up blood. His robe was stained with blood. However, Lu Ming's body remained upright. His eyes were filled with determination and unyieldingness. Kneel! The Wan true emperor shouted. Don't even think about it. Lu Ming roared. His long hair fluttered in the wind. The cauldron lit up and sent waves of light towards the emperor. The Wan true emperor pressed down again, and the light collapsed. The terrifying force forced Lu Ming to retreat while coughing up blood. The pagoda emitted a terrifying pressure that locked down the area. Lu Ming couldn't escape into the Cauldron Mountain. Kneel! The Wan true emperor's cold voice resounded again. The pagoda unleashed another wave of power on Lu Ming. Lu Ming was pushed back again. His injuries worsened, but he still stood straight. If I don't die, I'll kill all of you. Lu Ming let out a long howl. His unyielding voice spread in all directions. His voice was filled with unwavering faith and killing intent that was as cold as a blade. If he didn't die, he would kill all of them. Many people were shaken. Under such circumstances, Lu Ming was still unyielding. He still dared to shout in such a manner. This person was truly terrifying. If he didn't die, the consequences in the future would be hard to predict. Many people had this thought. Even the emperors from the Wan clan, Heavenly Wolf Pagoda, and Three-Legged Golden Crow felt a chill down their spine. You won't have the chance. The Wan True Emperor's eyes flashed with murderous intent. This brat was too extraordinary. Even if he couldn't get anything today, he still needed to kill him. Boom. He took another step forward and unleashed a terrifying aura. Specks of light blossomed from his body. One terrifying weapon after another flew out. The aura of his weapons converged and created ferocious rifts in the air. Clearly, the true emperor of the Wan clan was going all out to kill Lu Ming. Several true emperors working together to bully a junior at the Grand Saint Realm. The ancient moon's sacred ground is getting weaker and weaker. A sigh came about at this time. Then everyone saw an old man coming out of the Cauldron Mountain. He was extremely old with turbid eyes and almost all of his hair falling out. Wrinkles piled up on his face like a mountain. His aura was weak, and he held a walking stick in his hand as he walked through the air step by step. Uncle Kong. Lu Ming's heart stirred. This elder was the old servant of the Great Evolution Pill Hall, Dan Kong. Who are you? The Wan True Emperor glanced at Uncle Kong, and found that his vitality was indeed weak, just like an ordinary old man without cultivation. However, he couldn't be an ordinary old man in this situation. Just a bag of bones about to enter the ground. You wouldn't know who I am even if I told you. Uncle Kong managed to squeeze out a faint smile. You want to help Lu Ming? The Wan True Emperor asked. Of course, Lu Ming is the Lord of Grand Development Pill Hall right now, so I naturally want to protect him. Uncle Kong said. I'm afraid you don't have that ability. The Wan True Emperor's murderous intent intensified. Might as well try. My old life is about to enter the ground anyway, so what if I die? Uncle Kong smiled. If you want to die, I'll kill you first. The Wan True Emperor shouted and pressed his palm forward. The pagoda unleashed a terrifying aura towards Uncle Kong. It was far stronger than the attack against Lu Ming earlier. He clearly didn't use his full strength against Lu Ming earlier in order to force Lu Ming to reveal the Grand Development Pill scripture. Uncle Kong, watch out! Lu Ming shouted. Uncle Kong's expression didn't change. However, he swung his walking stick. When the walking stick was swung out, it began to expand rapidly, turning into a giant staff that could hold up the sky, bombarding the giant tower. Boom! Terrifying waves of energy rippled out, causing the massive tower to continuously tremble before being blasted away. Uncle Kong's walking stick quickly shrank to its normal size, and was held in Uncle Kong's hand. So strong! Many people were shocked. This old man was able to stop an attack from a true emperor from the Wan clan. Could this old man be a true emperor as well? Lu Ming was shocked as well. Uncle Kong's battle prowess exceeded his expectations. He had guessed that Count Kong was a martial emperor, but he didn't expect him to be a true emperor, a mid-emperor. So you're a true emperor as well. The Wan True Emperor had a serious expression. So what if you're a true emperor? Do you think you can protect Lu Ming alone? He must die today. Chapter 1813. Whoosh! The demon emperor of the Golden Crow tribe appeared next to the Wan True Emperor, emitting a terrifying aura. The three emperors stood side by side. Since the three of you are here, come out as well. Uncle Kong's expression didn't change. His muddy eyes stared at a certain spot in the sky and said. Many people were alarmed. Were there more experts hiding in the sky? The next moment, the space cracked open and two figures stepped out. One was shrouded in violet light while the other had a terrifying demonic aura. The only similarity was that they were surrounded by the light of a world. True emperors, more true emperors. True emperors from Violet Extreme and Skybird Palace. An emperor said with a serious tone. Today the Wan Clan, Celestial Wolf Pagoda, Golden Crow Tribe, Violet Extreme, and Skybird Palace all sent true emperors here. Perhaps the other powers also sent true emperors, but they didn't show up yet. Haha, 5 true emperors just to deal with a junior at the Grand Saint Realm? Aren't you afraid of being ridiculed by the world? Uncle Kong's gaze swept across the area as he slowly opened his mouth. His voice was filled with ridicule. Lu Ming killed many people from the 5 major forces. He is deranged and has to die. No one can save him today. The one true emperor coldly said, "Oh, you said that Lu Ming killed so many of your people? I'm curious and want to ask a few questions." Uncle Kong said. The one true emperor's group didn't say anything. Lu Ming couldn't escape today. This old man alone couldn't stop them. They wanted to see what he had up his sleeve. Firstly, the people from the 5 major forces that Lu Ming killed were at the Saint Realm. Were they of the same generation as Lu Ming? Were they 7, 8, or 10 years old? Uncle Kong's voice echoed across the area. The one true emperor's group remained silent. Their eyes flashed but they didn't answer. Senior, those that Lu Ming killed were all of the same generation. Many of them were older than Lu Ming. Huang Ling said. Oh, I understand. Thank you, young lady. Uncle Kong smiled at Huang Ling and continued. Did Lu Ming seek help from the older generation? The true emperors of the Wan clan and Golden Crow tribe didn't answer. Senior, I was there during all of this. Lu Ming didn't ask the seniors for help. Huang Ling said. I can testify. Long Chen said. Okay, the third question. Did Lu Ming kill the people from the 5 forces with his own abilities? Uncle Kong asked. That's right. We'll fight head-on with our own strength. Huang Ling understood. I understand. Kongbo nodded and looked over at the Wan clan's group. At this moment, a terrifying aura burst forth from the body of Uncle Kong. It was as though a slumbering godly beast had been awakened. A frightening amount of essence chi pierced through the heavens, and the blood chi of his entire body began to blaze furiously. His cloudy eyes were no longer cloudy. There seemed to be the sun, moon, and stars revolving within them. They were full of sharpness. In a head-on battle between peers, the people from the 5 major forces are useless. They were no match for Lu Ming and were killed by him. Yet, you void emperors and true emperors are shameless enough to seek revenge. What a joke. And you? Uncle Kong looked at the true emperor of Skywolf Pagoda. One of your martial emperors came to kill Lu Ming only to be killed by Lu Ming. Do you still want to avenge him? Do you have no shame? Uncle Kong's voice became sonorous and forceful as it echoed throughout the entire place. Lu Ming killed my Heavenly Wolf Pagoda's martial emperor by relying on the power of the array, the true emperor of Skywolf Pagoda said. Nonsense. He's a dignified martial emperor. Could it be that he wants the other party to have a fair fight with a junior at the eminent sage stage? I think you're not only shameless, but also stupid. The true emperor of Skywolf Pagoda's expression turned ugly. So what? It's useless for you to say so much today. You can't change the outcome. Lu Ming must die today. The true emperor of the Wan clan spoke while surrounded by weapons. No matter what you say, it's useless. Lu Ming has to be killed. Lu Ming's talents were too frightening. Since they had offended him, they must eliminate him. Otherwise, they would be the ones to be destroyed in the future. Is that so? Uncle Kong smiled and said, This old man didn't say so much to make all of you retreat. Instead, I'm saying that since all of you can act like this, then this old man might as well do the same thing as well. As soon as Uncle Kong finished speaking, he took a step forward. Boom. This step caused the sky to turn upside down. The sun and moon lost their brilliance as the void trembled violently. In the distance, the martial emperors were aghast and shouted, Retreat! They led the people below the emperor level and frantically retreated. They wanted to get as far away from that area as possible because they felt a fatal danger. The true emperors of the Wan clan and Golden Crows narrowed their eyes at this moment. Clank! A sword ray shot out from the cane in Uncle Kong's hand. This sword illuminated the 9 heavens with a peerless brilliance akin to a flying immortal. It broke through space and headed straight for the true emperor of the Wan clan. Myriad soldiers. One true emperor roared. All the weapons around him lit up and gathered together to form a gigantic and strange weapon. It slammed straight towards the sword ray unleashed by Count Kong. Alas, the sword ray shattered the strange weapon into pieces. The sword ray didn't stop there, and continued on its unstoppable course. The true emperor of the Wan clan roared and summoned a minor world. His body was trapped inside while he frantically retreated. Alas, the sword ray was even faster. It instantly slashed through the minor world and split it in half like a watermelon in front of the horrified spectators. The sword didn't stop there, and continued to slash at the emperor. No, the emperor's eyes were filled with fear. Damn it! He shouted with fear in his eyes. The next second, the sword ray pierced through his forehead. The true emperor of the Wan clan froze on the spot, unable to move at all. His aura had completely vanished, including his life force. Then, to the horror of the crowd, the true emperor of the Wan clan turned into ashes and dissipated from the world. The scene fell into a deathly silence. It was as if everyone's throats were being tightly gripped by an invisible hand. Not a single sound could be heard. The true emperor of the Wan clan was dead. A true emperor was annihilated by a single slash. Not even his corpse was left behind. This was a true emperor, a peak existence capable of looking down on the world. No one could compete with him except for a grand emperor. But now he was killed by a single slash. Lu Ming's eyes widened in horror. Chapter 1814. At this moment, Uncle Kong no longer had a trace of old age. He had completely transformed into a peerless swordsman. Under the heavens, who else could surpass him? If a true emperor dares to bully a junior, then I'll do the same to all of you. Die. His eyes flashed like lightning as he took a step forward, causing the world to tremble. Another sword ray slashed towards the pagoda's emperor. The pagoda's emperor frantically retreated while unleashing all of his power. Alas, it was futile. He followed in the footsteps of the Wan clan's emperor, and turned into ashes. Another true emperor has been slain. Run, run, run. The remaining emperors from Golden Crow, Violet Extreme, and Skybird Palace were scared to death. They only had one thought in mind, to run as far away as possible. They didn't want to kill Lu Ming at all. All they wanted was to stay alive. Uncle Kong's eyes narrowed as he pointed his finger at the sky. Whoosh! A sword ray appeared in front of the three emperors and directly cut through the void. The three emperors stopped in their tracks with a horrified expression. Do you think you can escape if I want to kill you? Uncle Kong uttered coldly. Senior, please spare us. The true emperor from the Golden Crow tribe shouted, no longer as arrogant as before. He became as obedient as a dying bird. He was scared out of his wits. Wan Clan's and Celestial Wolf Pagoda's emperors were slain by the old man. It wouldn't take him much effort to kill them. Everyone in the surroundings fell silent, and could only look at Uncle Kong in horror. One slash to kill a true emperor? What kind of cultivation was this? Could it be a Grand Emperor? Was there a Grand Emperor hiding in Grand Development Hall? One should know that the number of Great Emperor experts in the entire Yuan Mountain could be counted with one's fingers. On the surface, there were only a few of them. Even if he wasn't a Grand Emperor, he had to be a terrifying existence among true emperors. The other two true emperors stopped and stared at Elder Kong with trepidation. With their cultivations, they were utterly unable to see through Elder Kong's cultivation. Clang. After sheathing his sword, Elder Kong began to withdraw his aura, making him look like an ordinary old man. Elder Kong's walking stick was a long sword. Don't worry, I won't kill you. The three true emperors heaved a sigh of relief. Let me tell you, Lu Ming is already the successor of the Great Pill Derivation Palace, and the current palace master of the Great Pill Derivation Palace. Daoist Kong. Senior, don't worry. We won't touch a single hair on Lu Ming's head in the future. The true emperor from the Golden Crow race said. Elder Kong nodded, and then he swept the crowd with his gaze and glanced at the experts of all the powers before his voice sounded out from afar. In the future, this old man won't interfere in the battles of the same generation. Even if one of you kills Lu Ming and seizes his fortune, I won't interfere as well. However, if some of you old fellows make a move against a junior disciple, then don't blame me for being impolite. When the time comes, I'll make a trip to your sect and stretch my muscles. Many people felt a chill in their hearts. Given Elder Kong's battle prowess, a trip to any sect would be disastrous. Elder Kong could even kill a true emperor with one slash. Even though the great powers had more than one true emperor, they still might not be his match. At that point, not to mention the juniors, even the emperors would die. This was a blatant threat. Alas, the great powers had no choice but to accept it. This was the deterrence of a terrifying expert. Why didn't the experts from the Wan clan and Golden Crow race dare to kill the young geniuses of the Phoenix Palace and Divine Elephant sect? Because these two sects had terrifying experts as well. If you kill their geniuses, their experts can also kill your geniuses. This is the deterrence of the strong. Why did the Wan family, the Golden Crow clan, and other forces dare to dispatch powerful figures to kill Lu Ming? They knew that Lu Ming didn't have a backer. Lu Ming didn't have an expert behind him who would seek revenge on their juniors. But now Lu Ming had a backer. All the great powers had to be wary of him. Senior, are you really not going to interfere in a battle between peers? The true emperor of the Golden Crow race asked. This old man is a man of his word. If Lu Ming is no match for his peers and is killed, he will be considered useless. However, I still stand by my words. If your seniors or even emperor-level powerhouses attack him, this old man will not be polite. Now all of you get lost. A sharp glint flashed in Elder Kong's eyes as he waved his hand. Let's go. The true emperor of the Golden Crow race shouted and turned into a golden ray, flying away with extreme speed. The other members of the Golden Crow race also left. Violet Extreme Sect, Skybird Palace, and the other sects also left with flickering figures. The appearance of the Grand Development Pill Hall had finally come to an end. However, the storm was far from over. The entire ancient moon sacred ground was shaken. This time, Lu Ming was the main character. Because of Lu Ming, the great powers suffered great losses. This was especially true for Heavenly Wolf Pagoda and the Wan clan. The Wan clan lost a true emperor, while Heavenly Wolf Pagoda lost a void emperor and a true emperor. Even a great power like the ancient moon sacred ground couldn't bear this loss. Anyone who could become an emperor was a peerless genius. Heavenly spirit physiques were said to have the potential to become an emperor. However, that was only potential. It was still very difficult to reach the throne. Moreover, this was a true emperor. Great powers like the ancient moon sacred ground definitely had more than one true emperor. However, these were accumulated over a long period of time. Losing one would have a significant impact on their strength. Not long after, almost all the powers left. Only Phoenix Palace, Divine Elephant Sect, and a few others stayed behind. Lu Ming, are you alright? Huang Ling walked towards the Cauldron Mountain and came to Lu Ming's side. I'm fine, don't worry. Lu Ming smiled. However, his face was pale and his body trembled slightly. He almost lost his balance. He was already severely injured from the continuous attacks of the Wan clan's true emperors. Huang Ling, let's let Lu Ming heal first. We'll come see him another day. Long Chen came over and said, Very well, Lu Ming, take care of yourself first. We'll come see you another day. Huang Ling said and left with Long Chen, Phoenix Palace, and Divine Elephant Sect. Uncle Kong, thank you. Lu Ming cupped his fists towards Uncle Kong. Temple Lord, it is my duty to protect you. However, there are countless experts in this world. The powers of the ancient moon sacred ground are not as simple as they seem. They have deep foundations and terrifying existences guarding them. The other sacred grounds have as many experts as the clouds. The road ahead will be even longer. You will have to walk it yourself, especially the competition between the younger generation. I won't interfere, you have to face it yourself. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.